Boom! Just like that. Just like that. Pickle Rick! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages. What is up? What is up? Welcome to Car Stereo Talk with me, Dean, and this guy here, Fernando. I was hoping he'd say it, but just it's not a big talker apparently.
What's up, guys? No.
And just like everyone here, let's just go through this real quick. Hang on, let me. Where's it at? I'm gonna start this one. We'll get to that. That's a good question. Might as well take some people off. And we got 90 in Denver. That's actually pretty cool. Like, wow, it's a nice day there. Hey, everyone from Maryland, we're checking in.
Very cool.
I just came home from Maryland. There you go. What's up? I'm in St. Mary's. Oh, you guys are having a wonderful little bro chat. What's up from North Carolina? Pacific Northwest checking in with cloudy and 75. What are the odds? And there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Fort Worth checking in at 107. Hey, we're going to be in Texas very soon. August 24th, 25th, 26th. But 24th is the date that you guys might want to concern yourselves with. Because we'll be in Dallas at Jay's Tent around noon forward. It's a Thursday. I know. Kind of like, hey, get out of work early, take it off, and come over to Jay's Tent in Dallas and hang out with us. It's going to be a bunch of us there. Brian Mitchell, Andy Waymeyer, Jacob Waymeyer, Jeff Smith, to name just a few. There'll be cars to listen to. There'll be food. That guy right there.
That guy is going to be there.
That guy. It's the Jeff Smith. He will be there. So it ought to be fun. 88 and sunny, but the gnats are eating you alive. God, I hate those. Mosquitoes, I get bit by a mosquito in like 2 days. I'm cool. Gnats, it's like ruins the whole month.
Really?
Yeah. Checking in again from the Pacific Northwest. What's going on? What's going on?
Hang on.
That's not our air compressor. That's not. I don't think so.
Hey,
Hi guys. Oh, hold on. I just put that one up there.
Perfect.
What's up from Sydney? We just had the pleasure of hanging out with Sydney, a guy from Australia.
What's his name?
Jason. Is it Jason?
Steve.
Close enough. Sorry, Steve. I mean, it's like Steve, Jason, Brian, Chris. I was going to get it right eventually. So anyways, it used to be Stinger Australia, but they've changed the name to, I think it's just like Car Stereo, something like that. I can't remember the name. But they handle all of the AMP Global products, Connects 2, so Metro, Auto Control. And so they stopped by this week. They were in town because AMP Global's right down the street. So they were in town. He's like, I got to go see my boys, Dean and Fernando. So we had a great time, spent about a half hour with them, shooting the proverbial poo.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was awesome. You hung out with Ray and...
Yeah. No, that was awesome.
I hung out with Jason, Steve, JS. Anyways, Fresno checking in at 100. Holy crap.
Wow.
Hello from Vegas, 103. We're out of... excessive. Oh, we're out. Okay, that's good. Utah is checking in at 85. For those of you guys that are up in the North Dakota region or South Dakota region, Sturgis is happening right now. So a lot of motorcycle people are up there doing their thing.
Buenas.
What's up, Car Gift? Checking in from Portugal. Anyone watching Jake Paul versus Diaz?
Yes. Sebastian wanted to watch it, so he's a big fan of Jake Paul, so we're going to go watch it.
You guys saw him live when they were in here, right?
We saw it live, yes, when they fight here, yeah. So
yeah,
I don't want it. I'm not a fan of the guy, but I have to support
what you do for the kids.
That's right.
Jersey Shore checking in at 81. We'll be in Atlantic City in March? April?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know. Next year we're going to Atlantic City. Knowledge Fest is moving from Orlando to Atlantic City, so we're going to make Atlantic City, not Atlanta City. Either way,
we're going to be there.
We're going to be there for a couple days. That ought to be fun.
Mr. Smith is going?
Yeah, he's going by himself as Smith Enterprises.
Smith Enterprises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be Smith Enterprises will be there. He will be a Smith Enterprises. That's about it. He will not be there with AMP Global.
Please call 1-800 I can tune your car.
All right, so this seems to be, so you got, all right, there's 2 questions here. So go ahead and start getting your questions thrown up there and we'll start digging through them. Have either of you heard of the Sony XM-GS6 DSP? It's a 6-channel lamp. To answer the question, yes, we've heard of it. We've actually given one away for 12 days of Christmas. I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
3 years.
I think so, yeah.
It's worth putting in a Toyota Camry XLE hybrid 9-inch screen without JBL system. To answer that question is maybe, but let's back it up a little bit. Let's talk, because this is a big question. All right, so sit down, relax, and pay attention. Also, don't forget that in a little bit, it's like a country song, I feel like. In a little bit, we're going to be doing quick DSP quick tips brought to you by Moscone Glidden. So let's get through this question first, and then we'll hit that one. We got a nice one today. We're going to talk about input setup. And I know you're going, what? Yeah, it's a thing. It really is. But so the XM-GS6 DSP is called a DSP, but very loosely, in that it is basically the DSP setting equivalent of what would come in a radio thrown into an amplifier. So it is not like buying like this 6 to 10 over here from Glidden, or an audio control, or a Helix, or basically anything with a DSP in it. It's a very basic DSP amplifier, which isn't a bad thing. It's not, because it's real easy to set up and it's real easy to work with. Now, will it have the capability, should be the question, of dealing with what is in your non-JBL 9-inch touchscreen Toyota Camry? And the answer to that question is no, it can't. It does not have the capability to deal with anything that is in there. So, I'm sure it's priced extremely well. If you would like to use that DSP in that car, there is an easy enough fix. If you are just really at the end of the day, all you need is front, okay? You need your front output. That is the most important thing. If you get yourself a key lock from Kicker, the Kicker key lock, and you put that in front of, like, coming out of the radio, use that as your high level to low level adapter. The key lock has the ability to deal with the signal that is coming out of your Toyota radio, the all pass filters, the delay, the equalization, and all that fun stuff. It can take that in, chomp it up, and give you a decent signal out off to that amplifier, in which case now you can retime alignment, you can cross it over, you can use the EQ bands, and you can have as Fred Flintstone likes to say, a gay old time. So yeah, you could do, that's a thing that you could do, no problem with the Toyota, but that would be how you would integrate that. Now, if you want front to rear fade and you want a timeline to do that, then you're gonna need 2 key locks, because a key lock just does 2-channel. So personally for me, unless there's something happening on the rear channels, which is that car, there really isn't. I don't think backup sensors or anything like that comes out of the rear. I would just concentrate on grabbing the front signal, getting the best sound I can out of those, and using that to power everything. Because the only thing that rear is doing is, front to rear fade. So if you don't need front to rear fade, just leave it up to the DSP. You can still have rear speakers. You're just going to set them up in the DSP, which actually we're going to show you in a minute on this, how to do that. So there you go. That is the answer to that question. Okay, let's take one more.
You got it?
Yeah, no, give me another one.
Okay.
Drop it on me. You're the keeper of the questions.
Well,
you can do it. I have a Sony GS9. I want to know what is the best way to connect via RCA or Toslink optical cable output. Oh, well, this is a good question. So, Fernando, what radio do you have in your car?
I have a really inexpensive Sony RSX GS9.
What is the best way to get sound out of that thing?
I went RCA.
Do you remember why you went RCA?
Because I'm using the DAC from that.
So using the Saber DAC.
The Saber DAC from the Sony GS9, yeah.
So if you were to go Toslink output, then the whole purpose of the GS9 with the Saber DAC built into it, you would bypass, and you'd have to feed that into hopefully a better than the Saber DAC.
Right. So if you have a better amplifier, DSP,
well, a better DAC, digital analog converter, or analog digital.
Yeah, you would go
out Yeah.
Optical, yes.
Yeah.
But no, I like my RCA. And right now it's hooked up to the 430. Moscone 430 Pro, and it sounds really nice.
So to back that up so you kind of get what we're saying here is the whole reason why the GS9, it was built off of one of Sony's high-end home audio products. And they tasked the engineer with, guess what? That's what we're going to have Han do. We're going to have Han try to fit this into a singleton chassis. You think he can do it? I got 5 that says he can't. Well, not only did Han do it, and that's not his name, by the way, as he figured out, he really didn't know what he was doing in the sense that they told him to fit it in here, and they went and put all the pieces to the puzzle that were in it that you would need in a home audio environment. And one of those was the Toslink. The whole reason why you buy a GS9 is because of the DAC that is built inside of it. If you saw our review of it, we took it all apart. There's a giant, looks like a nuclear device sitting in the center of that. That is the DAC. That is the whole reason why you buy a GS9. Unfortunately, he really didn't get what was going on, so they put a Toslink on the output of it, and then introduced the internet, which everyone said, oh, you got to use Toslink. Toslink's the best thing. Tos is awesome. What's up, Marty? And the reality is no, in that case, it's not, because when you decide to go Toslink out, you're bypassing the cool DAC that's inside of it in lieu of, let's say you had something else with a Saber DAC in it, which you don't. So no, don't go Toslink out. Just pretend it's not even there and use the RCAs. That's how you get the best sound out of that radio. I know, it's sad. But
you will like it.
It's really nice if they just want to put that on there. But he didn't know. He didn't know. So yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, so let's go over here. Welcome to class, ladies and gentlemen. This is This is DSP Quick Tips brought to you by Moscone Glidden. And today we are going to take a look at an input-output setup on a Moscone amplifier. Now, this is the software for the Moscone 830. However, any of the current DSPs use the same software, whether it be the cool new 610 or it be the brand new 810 or the 830 or possibly even the new, what is it? It's 10 to 12?
Yeah,
Aerospace?
the Aerospace.
The new Aerospace that just came out. It's massive. I can't wait to get my hands on one of those. I'm hoping we'll get to hear Wayne's. You guys know Wayne because that was the dual 530s that they had in the Tesla. He just took out his and put in the new Aerospace. But anyways, setting up inputs and outputs are probably one of the most confusing things that you can do in a DSP. Depending on the manufacturer, some of them have some really oh my gosh, it doesn't make any sense. And then some of them kind of follow basic protocol. Moscone kind of follows some of the basic protocol. Once we open up our DSP software, it has input, mixer, main EQ, equalizer, filters, and phase, and dB. But what we want to look at is input right here first. Now we're going to put this in the basic mode as opposed to the advanced mode because this will get us as far as we need to go for this particular lesson. In this particular DSP, it has the ability right on the front to do 8 channels of input. You can also do a Toslink input if you'd like to do that as well. We're going to use the analog inputs. And today we're going to take it, let's say we had the Toyota that he had where it has a front, a rear output. So it just has 4 outputs from the factory radio that we're going to feed into this amplifier. And we're going to use those to feed a plethora of different things. So we're going to go active. So we're going to have a channel on the tweeter. We're going to have a channel on the mid bass. We're going to have a channel on the rear speaker. And then we're going to go and we're going to buy the new 8-post. So we're going to have a 3-way up front. So we'll have a mid-range. And then we'll have a secondary amplifier to power the subwoofer, which this will do. That's why it's called, it's an 8 to 10 DSP. So it has 10 channels of output. And 8 of those are built into this. The inputs we're going to use are going to be analog, high-level, low-level input, and we want to go to our mixer, which is this cool gray box in the middle. This will automatically drop down these cool colors. Now, if you notice, these cool colors here, the gray, the green, the blue, and the pink, correspond to main equalizers, gray, green, blue, and pink. If we want to rename these, So for example, this is called center sub, and we're not actually going to have a center sub. So we can come in here and we can just call this sub. I'll hit enter. Okay. And then auxiliary we're not going to have, but we'll just leave it saying aux for right now because it's not anything that we need to deal with. When we wire up our factory radio to this, we're going to take the front 2 wires and go to inputs 1 and 2. We're going to take the rear 2 wires and we're going to go to inputs 3 and 4. And that's as exciting as that gets. Now that is going to correspond over here to the easy setup. Input, analog high to low, 1, we need to put a number here. Now, if you come over to the input side where it says info, you have 25 is 12 dB minus 12 dB. It's going to be a low signal, an attenuated signal. 50% is 6, 100 is 0, and 200 is plus 6 dB. Now you say, whoa, why would I want plus? Let's just say you're putting in an environment where the output is so low, you need a little bit of gain coming in just to get it to work. That 200 allows you to do that. It's a really nice feature that they do built into this. It also works really well if you're doing some form of an auxiliary that has a very low input, because sometimes you'll put in third-party Bluetooth devices or third-party streaming devices that have a low output, maybe 2 volts of output, and you need to gain it up before it gets into the system. You can use that 200% to do that. Coming over to output group 1, we're going to type in 100. That is going to be left front. Go to stagger it down. 246 is what it's saying in here. And that is our left, front, and left. Geez, that is our front, left, and right. Come over to the green group. Skip over the first 2. We're going to put 100 for 3 and 100 for 4. And when we say that, we refer to the driver's front as 1, the passenger front as 2, the passenger rear as 3, the passenger drivers, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, it gets confusing. I know.
It's a lot of numbers.
It's a lot of numbers. Now we're going to come over to the sub. And for that, we want to feed in signal so that we can do what's called non-fade, meaning whether we have it going from the front or the rear, we want both those to make sure our sub is going. We'll put 50% here, not 500, 50% here, 50% here, and then we'll come down and we'll do the same on these 2, 50, 50. And what this now is going to do is this is going to give us it's going to give us 50% of all 4 corners of the car, in turn giving us 100% on left and 100% on right. That's then going to become mono and go out to our subwoofer that we're going to add. Now these boxes are going to correspond to these boxes up here. And so right now, if we look at inputs 1 and 2, it is set up for front. Inputs 3 and 4 is set up for front. 1 through 6 are set up for front. So that is going to be our tweeters, our mid-range, and our mid-bass. 7 and 8 are set up for rear. And we want to make 9 and 10 our subs. So we'll switch this here, and then we'll switch that to aux because we're not using it. And you notice there it just changed colors. So now we have our outputs set up. Our sub is going to get the combination of non-fade, meaning you're going to have 100 from left, 100 from right, taking all 4 speakers to power it. So no matter where I'm going, if I'm using my balance and fader, I'll have sub bass. And then my rear is getting the full signal from the rear. My fronts are all getting the full signal from the front. And we've set this up now so that we can, from this point, move on to setting up input, output, crossovers, equalization, and all those other fun things. And that's it, guys. Let me shut this off. And that's it, guys. That has been quick DSP quick tips from Mosconi Clayton. Now, a lot of DSPs work that same way. We've done a lot of DSPs with you guys. That input-output mixer can be confusing, but as you can see from this, you got you got to set it up where it needs to go, and you tell it there, and everything is great. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
I know. All right. There we go. If you'd like to know more about the products, head over to Moscone-America.com, or if you want to read about some of the new products that are coming out from Glidden, head over to Glidden.com, which is this guy right here. And what we got going on there right now, this is the new Moscone 1 8-10. I didn't even know that one was out yet. So this is 120 watts of AV class amplifier times 8. That's a pretty awesome amp, wouldn't you think?
Yes.
You know. So now we have the 6-10 and the 8-10 AV class using the same DSP. Hit me up, Fernando. Tell me what we got.
All right. Hang on. Give me 1 second.
Oh, no. Take your time. Take your time. Nothing's going on. It's all good.
Well, right now, because let's do this one first.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff, for the $5. Is there a way to do a consultant with you guys remote? Understand there would be a fee. Would like some guidance and not impressed with the local shop. It's one of those hard things for us to do just because our retail store and the install bay are not connected, and we are really kind of busy a lot. So people that know that have tried to call me, it's hard to do. Email, like if you have a pointed question that we can answer with an email, that would probably be the better way to get in touch with us. And that's 5-star, spell it all out, 5star@gmail.com. And at least give us an idea of what we're doing to kind of forego the first date. And then from there, if it's something we can help you with, definitely we'll either call you back or write you back an email.
Okay.
That's it. Oh, hold on. Keep looking. I want to write this in 25. See any dynos coming up? Didn't you buy it for a reason, sir? So you guys are funny, all right? And like, you complain if there's not any installed diaries, and then when there is an installed diaries, you complain that there's no dynos. Come on, pick a path and stick with it. I mean,
no. He's just been funny because he knows that you blow up the four.
So, bit of it, and then there you go. I'm just giving you a hard time because you're giving us a hard time. I tell no hard feelings. So earlier this week, we did some dyno work for a manufacturer. And in the process of doing that, we basically, fire trucks, we almost needed them. We filled the whole install bay up with smoke, and we were pretty sure we destroyed all 4 of our Astron power supplies. But in reality, after finally having the ability to go and take them all apart, basically what we figured about is that one of the power plugs we were using had a small short in it, and then you can kind of see the copper wire there. And then what the cool part is because it's AC and not DC, if you can see that little bump. There's a little bump here. There's a little bump here. There's another little bump like right there, or right here, I should say. And what it is these bumps are about every 3 inches. And that's because the oscillating current from the wall, every time it would oscillate, it would blow out of the wire, and then it would stop, and then it would, and because the breaker never went off, which is kind of scary, it just kept doing it. So there's like 10 or 15 little holes all along this wire until it finally just melted through in 2 or 3 places. But it was enough to make it seem as the whole power supply bank blew up. And it sounded like a capacitor blowing up. If you've ever heard a cap blow up, that's exactly what it sounded like. And it sounded like all the caps in the power supplies were just going.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm just going. And that's why I thought, in my head, I'm going, oh my God, money, more money, stop. Oh, there's all the money. And of course you got to keep it cool because, the company's standing there going, oh my God, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, it's okay, man. Just a bad day. Luckily, we had charged the batteries up that morning, so we had plenty of current to do their testing, which is really all they cared about. So it all worked out for them in the end. And then once we were able to take them apart early, or like yesterday, the day before, Thursday, I think, we found out that the only thing that was actually wrong, which I had it sitting on my desk, is one of the grounds in the last power supply. It's about a 2-inch ground. the shielding on it had heated up, so we pulled it out, put a new piece in, got it back together. And then I promptly went on Amazon and ordered a new power strip and all new power cables for all of them because, yeah, that sucked. So, hey, how much input power can a DSP handle? That is a great question, and it is going to depend on the DSP that you're using. Some DSP, Dayton, can only take about 2 volts of input. Anything more than that, it doesn't matter. It's topped off. You can put 5, 10, 15 volts, and it won't matter. You're just going to distort it. Actually, it'll actually be worse. Some audio control, you can put 40 volts of input into. So it's just really going to depend on who made the DSP. It should be in the high level, low level section of the information on it. Most DSPs we found will take between 10 and 20 volts, which is usually adequate for most American and Japanese cars. The German cars are the ones that are kind of tricky because, especially of a premium audio, they have sometimes 20 to 25 volts of output on the subwoofer output, in which case, yeah, you don't want to put that on a 10 volt input. We have done a couple videos on measuring your output voltage on the YouTubes that you can check it out. But yeah, it's real simple to test for if you're like curious and you'd like to know how much output voltage is coming from your source unit. Take your digital multimeter, set it to AC, positive, negative, go to the positive, negative of the speaker. The speaker can be connected or not connected. It really doesn't matter. Probably just leave it connected to make life easier. If it's a subwoofer, play your 40 hertz test tone. If it's a highs, play your 1000 hertz test tone. If you're going to play highs for 1000 hertz test tone, please have 2 people or set your meter to min max, preferably max. Turn the volume up real quick, turn the volume back down. And if it's on min max, play a 0 dB track. It'll save that output voltage for you. You can look at it. Most factory radios are going to be between 8, 9 volts on the high. Typically, they're around 5 or 6 volts, though. It's kind of amusing. So, yeah. Okay. Wow, that's a good question. I like that one. What's the max amperage should I put in that Toyota Camry Hybrid 2022 without the JBL basic system? Basically, what's the max wattage allowed in a hybrid? There is no such thing as max voltage allowed in a hybrid. We've put an insane amount of power in a Prius for no apparent reason. Like we put a SCAR, the SX 2500.1, much to my dismay. I didn't want to do it, but, and yeah, it was fine never had a problem. As long as there's a battery in the car, keep in mind, a lot of these newer amplifiers are way more efficient. Just don't go off and buy something like that, 2500 or 5K or 10K or some ridiculous thing like that. Be smart about it. Get something that is efficient and get speakers that are efficient. So build it like you're building a lightweight race car and, 35. So, for example, like this Moscone 8 to 10, 6 to 10, great amplifier to choose. It's not huge, but they also make the Atamo series. Hold on. Which are these little guys here. Let me pull this up. You know what? I think I wanted the Atamo series. So these are the Atamos, which are super tiny, super powerful, like 4x60 watts, 2x100 watts. Hang on, let me pull these guys up. Picos, there we go. So these are the Picos. Now the Picos are pretty magical. I'm not like it's ridiculous how crazy these things are. Like we did a system a couple months ago when we were out at Mobile Solutions in Juan's car. For those who don't know Juan, if you ever order anything from Mobile Solutions, he's one of the guys that makes sure you get the candy in the bag. But we put the Pico 750 watt amplifier, which is the Pico 1, has a 40 amp fuse on it. And that went into he has a Toyota, right? Mm-hmm. He had a Toyota. And then he already had in the Pico 6 to 8. And so those 2 little amplifiers were in there. And like, if you look at those, that's like 60 amps of current draw. And it's magical how this stuff works. They have DSPs built into them. It's ridiculous amounts of power. So if you play it smart, you can get ridiculous amounts of power and small footprint. Now, if you're like, I kind of like domestic amplifiers, check out like the Rockford Mini Ts. Mini power amplifiers are real tiny, very efficient. Pretty awesome, the lamps. We like to do those too, because they're, again, even though they say these big scary numbers on them, that 5-channel, it's like, oh my God, it's like 100 amps. No, it never draw 100 amps of current ever. And it just takes a little tiny 8-gauge, even though they say it's a 4-gauge. You physically can't fit a 4-gauge into it. But yeah, pretty powerful little lamps and tons of power. So kind of, if you're building your system and you get the right components, then you'll be powerful. You'll be like blown away, and you won't have to worry about your headlights dimming. What was Fro talking about? Oh, Juan is awesome. Yeah, he's definitely behind the scenes superstar. Oh no, you can't go to Mobile Solutions without, like, you got to have Juan in your corner. I can't even function there without Juan. Like, I'm like, Juan, I need you. I saw a video from the new Caddy Escalade V, and it has 36 freaking speakers. What, if anything, could be done with that? I'm thinking nothing. So isn't this the one Pate just did?
Mm-hmm.
So the problem with that car really is the fact that it's 36 speakers. Okay, so listen, what you need, see, is you need a full frequency output, and or you need equalization to kind of fix what they've done. Now, the reality is there's going to be a lot of speakers in there that you're not going to need. Similar to the Ford F-150 Unleashed system, which I think has, 14 speakers? 2 above your head, 2 in the headrest, 3-way up front. And I can tell you, everyone that we've had that has come in is the people all say the same thing. Wait, there's speakers there? Man, this thing sucks. And we take it out, we put a high-end 3-way set there, we DSP the hell out of it, and they're like, no, this is what I'm talking about, okay? And there again, these are people that have elevated standards. So most people that don't know will sit in there and be like, oh, this sounds good, it's surround, it's pretty neat. But what they're trying to do with 36 speakers is a lot of different things than what you and I are trying to do. So they want experience for everybody that's in the car. So whether you're in the driver's seat, the passenger seat, the rear passenger seat, the rear passenger driver's side, the very back, they want this envelopment that is going to happen. So you could say no bad seat, no good seat, but no bad seat in the car. So that's what those 36 speakers are for, is so that they're not all like we would do, concentrate on the driver. They're concentrating on everybody in the vehicle. So that's why they have those. So if you were to remove those and try to build something for yourself, then obviously you wouldn't need 36 speakers. Now, where the rub comes in is it's using one of the new factory amplifiers that uses the smart chip. So a lot of you guys are sitting there going, oh, do I need load resistors? What is a load resistor? What is fake engine noise? These things are taking that to the level of, come on, guys. In which case, not only is the stupid amplifier looking, it's actually a really smart amplifier, looking for the speaker, you can get a check engine light turn on if you disconnect the speaker, because it realizes there's something wrong with the car and it will automatically register that as a problem. These things aren't getting any easier. And until somebody makes a smart module or something that can program the car, that one, personally for me, it's kind of hands off. Now, MTI Acoustics, Chris Pate and the boys out in Texas, they did do one of these, and it was a nightmare. However, they managed to work their way through it. I think it took them about a month and a couple trips back and forth to the dealership because they got a guy, and they managed to get it sounding amazing, but it is definitely a pain in the ass. Unlike the Ford, which is just A to B, in which we plug in a module and we're all good to go and life is great. So, yay. Hey guys, just got myself a Harley system installed. The kicker, Haley system. She's sorry. She spells it H-A-I, so she'd freak out. We'll just pretend she doesn't see this. A kicker key, 200.4, powering some KS 6.5 components, front stage only, and my Mazda hybrid recently, and I'm exploring options for adding a sub. Okay, good idea. So, a couple options that you might want to think about if you're a kicker fan. Obviously, Haley System 2.0, when we did the first one, we put a P310 in there because that's what we had. I had one, and like Rockford sent them to us, so we were like, let's just put this in here. Sounds great. Big fan, right, Fernando?
Mm-hmm.
Loves it. However, Kicker does make the key 501, which is what is in her car now. And the 501 it powers whatever sub we feel like putting it in. So we've done anything from an L7 down firing to 112, 110. The current system that's in it is a Diamond Audio spare tire mount subwoofer, which sounds pretty impressive. Not gonna lie, it's like really impressive. But for her, it's great because she has the whole trunk space area. Today we just did the new downfiring amplified kicker enclosure. We were putting on an aftermarket radio though, so that was one of the reasons why that was cool. Otherwise, we would have just want to do the kicker key 501. So because the key 501 has the de-equalization circuit in it, so if the car has any subwoofer equalization done, which a lot of them do, it can correct for that, and then you can add a sub downfiring, whatever. It's 500 watts. See what makes it cool, okay? Because a lot of people go, I don't want 500 watts, I want 1,000 watts. All right, and the argument of why that is bad is this, which we talked about this before. Like when we talk about a Honda, you know, like the Honda Accord has the bass roll, I'm sorry, it's not bass roll up, it's equalization. It has basically a high pass filter in it. And we're like, yeah, get that 1,000 watt amp to put it into a Honda, cool, because really at the end of the day, by the time the factory system feeds its signal, you're only going to have 450, 500 watts if you're lucky out of it. So, you know, in a Honda, we'll put this little 500.1 in there, and it's going to EQ fix it, so we'll actually get to 500 watts. And some of you are going, what the frick is he talking about? So if there's a high pass filter that is blocking all the bass, if you put a whole bunch of power, you're just going to drive that signal up, okay? And so you're going to have bass where bass wouldn't exist because you're putting just tons and tons of power onto it. The problem is you're going to be just wasting all of that power because you're just trying to get up. Okay, you follow me? Maybe not. Anyways, yeah, the 501 is a really nice amp. Maybe think about that and then go to something else. You know, any type of stuff. Not looking for anything below the one. Yeah, 501. Yep, good. That's it. Oh, we covered it. Next. Yeah, that was. I just answered the question. Not knowing part two. That's the same guy. That's part two to the question. You guys are crazy. Does Dynamat work well on a 2020 Tundra? I mean, it'll work good on anything. I don't think the fact that it's there's nothing special about a 2020 Tundra and or Dynamat. There's a lot of really good sound treatment out there. You know, we use Roadkill, we use Sound Shield, we use Ground Zero, we use Morel. Nick Apicilla has Resonex, which is, I got a box of that for my car. So when it comes time to put the sound treatment in the Mustang, I'm putting Resonex in it because that's like, it's the Resonex. So it's the best. But yes, no, it will work in that car and you will have fun. Now, putting it in properly, that's really the question that you should ask yourself. A lot of people, you know, they'll go, I want to do the full baked potato. And the full baked potato is covering every square inch of non-visible surface, meaning make sure that when you put the door panel on, it hides all the Dynamat that you've put on it or any of the sound treatment you do. However, there's the reason, if you're trying to do like battle road noise, then yeah, put as much on it as possible. But keep in mind that the door panel itself, or as the Europeans call it, the door card, is just as important as the rest of the door. A lot of people will get in there and they'll just cover the whole outside skin of the door. And then they'll cover some of it around where the speaker is, and then they're done. It's like, what did we accomplish? Because really, the two pieces that are affected the most by a speaker being put in is the baffle, the area that the speaker is mounted to, because you don't want it to do this, okay? The area that's directly behind the speaker, okay? Because when the speaker moves, it's going to vibrate this, okay? Not going to vibrate the door handle. If your door handle is loose, you might hear it buzz. But if you properly sound treat it behind the speaker and the baffle that is holding the speaker, then you're really not going to have that. But where is all the energy going to, which is to the door card? It's trying to get through all those little holes. So this is going to want to vibrate and buzz and make all kinds of noise. Properly treating that is the most important thing. When we do it, we like to use the stuff that has the foam so that we can do butyl, aluminum, and foam, and we try to get as much in there, overlapping seams, any big flat areas that themselves could become a driver just because they're moving and create, waves that will cancel what we're doing. And then some form of a gasket that pushes the air off of the cone into the door panel so that it doesn't just get lost in the door card itself. Hi. Kicker base package uses an LC. All right. Kicker base package used LC1I and a pair of Kicker Comp 12's 50th anniversary powered by Kicker CX 1800.1 and OFC premium wire RCAs. Yeah, seems solid. So the only thing Kicker engineers would say the same thing. Why did you use the LC1I? The only reason, I wouldn't have used the LC1I. The only reason I would use that is if I was putting it in a vehicle that had a high voltage output. That would be it. That'd be the only reason why I'd use the LC1I. Because the CX 1800.1 has a really good high level to low level adapter built into it with DC offset. It would have done the same thing. You could have bought a bigger amp. Maybe. I don't know. All right, let me turn that back on. Hi, guys. I got a great deal on a set of 3-way Sony GS components. They're nice. They really are. The laugh was for another reason. It's kind of an inside joke. Was thinking of running in biamp with a 901.5, powering them, DSR1 for DSP, in a JBL Camry. Thoughts? Yeah, do it. For sure. 2020 Ford Raptor non-BO system. Currently have the Polk DB69 692s in the doors, JBL Club tweeters, full active. Is it worth upgrading to Morel Maximo Ultra 6.5 components? No. However, if you wanted to upgrade to Morel something, there's 2 speakers you could choose. One would be the actual 6x9 components, because the 6x9 components would go into that car really, really nice. You get the 6x9-inch mid bass, you get the tweeter. The second would be the new speakers that are sitting over here, which are the new 8-inch. The UNI 8. However, here's the thing you got to keep in mind. The Morel is a big cloth tweeter, crossed over very low, and it is made to sound very wide and very musical. Your club tweeters are just that. They're made to be club tweeters. They're hard dome, they're loud, they're in your face. If you like that sound, like that, then maybe look at something like a Focal, because that's more their speed. If you're sitting there saying, well, these tweeters, I don't know, these tweeters are a little bit much for me, and I wish they were a little bit more, a little bit opposite of what they're doing, then you want to look at the Morel. Okay, so that's really the difference there. You doing okay, man?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes, of course.
You having a good time?
Always.
Yeah, how's your Coke?
Awesome.
We got a couple of those left.
Yeah.
It's just a couple. Yeah, we're running out. Someone's got to show up another case of Mexican Coke. No? Please no?
No, man. No. Don't bring nothing.
All right, hold on. While we're chatting it up. Hey, Fernando.
Yes, sir.
Do you know who this next segment is brought to you by?
It's brought to you by audiocontrol.com. Making good sound great.
We didn't report about it on the news, but the audio control separated home audio from car audio this week.
Oh,
so the car audio is no longer the home audio is no longer part of Amp Global. They sold it off to, or licensed it out, I should say, to another manufacturer, which is kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But for the best car audio, check out the new Pacific Northwest, or PNW, line of speakers. Christian has them in his car.
Yeah?
And he loves them.
Wow.
We'll just use him as our talking head.
I mean,
it's Christian.
Yeah,
he buys everything. So
he's for sure.
Yeah. So following up that question, good one. But JBL crossover at 5K, and yes, and that's why they are so bright. So does the Focal. They also cross over 5K. A lot of hard domes do that. The Morel is a soft dome. It's going to cross over at like 2.2K. So it actually sounds. It has a lot more I'll say middler, but we'll call them twimmer sound than that speaker does. So you get a lot more vocal range out of the high of the dash now than you would with something like that. That's just going to be like, whereas the Morello is going to be more like, so because you have a full octave more of sound playing out of those. And someone thinks it's hammer time next door. Okay, what the guy think?
What do you guys think about the AC matrix for a stock head unit?
Audio control matrix. It's a line driver. If it's a stock head unit, voltage isn't the issue. You're gonna have plenty of voltage. Really, the line driver, the matrix, is designed more for something that already has a preamp output that you're looking to get more preamp output out of. So let's say your source unit has got a 2-volt output or whatever it is, and you're like, man, this really sucks. Matrix is great for that. If you're trying to make a stock unit sound better, then you need a DSP because, just the LC7i has matrix built into it. So you could just do the new LC7i Pro, the new LC5i Pro, if you only have front and rear, because those all have the matrix circuit inside of them. They're high level to low level. So no, you would get one of those and not that for those. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. What is the most refreshing drink?
Coca-Cola.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, that's just me.
Like if you're in a desert island, it's got to be Coca-Cola, nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a nice, like I don't know, anything other than Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola all the way, man. I mean, that's just me, right?
Oh no, that's perfectly fine. You can do that, man.
Yeah.
It's all you, bro. It's okay. We can disagree
sure.
and we can still be friends.
I mean,
a little less friends, I guess. Yeah, but Hi guys.
Hey.
Is there a major difference in moving the tweeter from the top of the door to the sail panel or pillar? Is there a major difference? Could be. If you've got it in there and you've set up your time delay and you've EQ'd it and you've got it and you're like, it just sounds too far forward, then yeah, moving it up there is going to push it out. However, there's always a give and take in car audio, and positioning of the tweeter in the mid-range do come into play. So the more forward you make it, the more it's going to horn load off of the windshield, and that in itself could cause problems that you may or may not like. I say may or may not because some people like the tweeter in the corner of the dash horn loading off the windshield because it makes it a little bit more, the presence, sometimes it makes it more bright, more exciting. However, the downside of that, it also makes it harder to steer the sound. Common word that everyone likes throwing out there when they talk about mounting speakers in the dash is the comb filtering issues. Yay. I personally like it when it's more forward. Anytime we do like the Ford Explorer, they always have the tweeters forward on the car. And I just feel like the sound stage is kind of off a little bit. It's kind of, I don't know, feels too close.
Okay.
I mean, that's just me. What do you think? You never really pay attention?
No.
Really?
No.
I can tell you where I don't like it is in the floor. That's too low. I mean, it's
the tweeters, yeah.
It's too low.
Put the mid bass in the floor.
Yeah,
sure.
It's so annoying. Yes, Christian, it is. I'm always late to the party, but the party doesn't start till I walk in. What's up, guys? Well, that's because, I thought about Mike this week.
Yeah.
Boston Mike, by the way. For anyone that wants to know, this is Boston Mike. If you're in
Boston, you have to go see Mike.
You have to go see Mike.
You just go to the airport and ask, hey, where's Boston Mike?
And then when you get there, make sure you bring one bag of creamy white sauce. No, I had a Boston cream donut this week. I went to get a chocolate donut. So the one time I go to Dunkin' Donuts, I'm like, I'm going to get a donut. Yeah. Okay. I hate their donuts. And I was like,
so you hate them, but you go in.
I went there for something else. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a chocolate donut. And I go, can I get the chocolate donut? And they're like, oh, we don't have those. I'm like, Jesus, is this Kentucky Fried Chicken? You guys don't have chicken? So I said, all right, give me Boston cream. And so as I was eating the creamy white sauce out of the Boston cream, I was fondly going, I wish I had a Diet Coke and a sandwich. All right, moving on.
All right.
Looking for tweeters for my daughter's 06 Corolla. And the sail panel in the door anymore. Anyone have an idea which brand? Seems all come flush mounted. Most tweeters are designed to come apart. So if you're looking for something that's reasonably priced and sound good for her, Alpine, S-Type, or R-Type are really nice come apart speakers that will go in there. Now, if you're looking for the ultimate in ease of installation, you may also want to check out Powerbase, because Powerbase makes the Toyota plug-and-play speaker, which means you just pull that out, plug it in, boom, Bob's your uncle, and you're done. Focal also makes, it's called Focal Inside, which is their plug-and-play version of those speakers. But if you're like trying to find something that is, easier to take apart and go right into that, I would look at the Alpine, because those all come apart. The flush mount, the whole back, it comes down, and what you end up with is a very small little tweeter that will typically mount right into the factory tweeter position with minimal amounts of fabrication.
What about the Rockford?
Little big. Big. Yeah, for a Toyota, it's a little big. The Alpines are the smallest, I think.
Okay.
I mean, don't worry for us. I'm getting them in there. I got a laser. We'll make this thing happen. But I'm thinking for him, it might be a little easier to just like do that. Are any hideaway subs worth it? Bought a new vehicle. I'm limited on space to only under-seat subs. Everyone seems to recommend Audison for my vehicle. Still looking at best value DSP integration options. So I don't know what kind of car it is. I guess that's kind of the first thing. Like this week, we had the pleasure of doing a Dodge, Express Ram, the Ram van, and we fit the Rockford P308 underneath the front seat, and it sounded great. However, they all sound about the same. The reality is they all sound about the same. JBL makes the Fuse, which is 2 8-inch. So it comes like this when you see it, but they actually come apart, and they're tiny and they're small, and they go up underneath the seat. Focal also makes a version of those, little 8-inch subs. They're more mid-bass, I feel, than anything. We use them for mid-basses and actually added a sub to the back. A lot of the times we have people that have space requirement issues. We do a down-firing enclosure. Like Kicker makes the cool down-firing enclosures because you can still set stuff on top of them. So like you can set your tools, you can set your lunch, you can set your cooler, you can set your kid, all that fun stuff on top of those. We do also carry who makes the, we buy a Rhino line version of it also that we use in Jeeps, because if it's going to get wet, and for the light, what's the name of the company that makes that box?
Q-Power?
Q-Power, thank you.
Yes.
Q-Power makes a little Rhino line version of that. Now, Kicker, like if you feel you have to have one, Kicker makes a 10-inch, which apparently is the best-selling one, according to the latest report. I know they sell a ton of them. It's crazy. If you have the ability to do 2, one underneath each seat, I would recommend doing that. Back to the JBL for a second. The Fuse isn't amplified. It does need an amplifier. It's really impressive. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty nuts. Q-Bomb. There you go. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Metro no kit for 2022 Corolla. Going to have to sell my Halo, or just make a kit, because I believe we just did a 2021 Camry this week.
I don't think it's any more different.
And it's basically the same thing. We've done. So IDATA makes the wiring harness for it, and then you just need a panel to cover up the rest of it. You can use the factory brackets to get the radio into place. So I know we can do it because it's a single DIN behind there. So you can handle it. Macho Man has not visited 5-star. Macho Man was dead before I started working at 5-star, but he did visit the previous place I worked at.
Oh, really?
He worked on his Hummer. Yeah.
He's Hummer.
Hulk Hogan eats at the sushi restaurant that's in the plaza. So we have this place called Ken Sushi, and he comes and eats there
constantly.
But one of his neighbors owned a car stereo shop down the street, so he has always gone there. So which is cool because But yep. Do I need an LOC factory 2020 Honda Accord head unit? Want to add Audison? 5.1K. If it's a 2020, so it's up to the amplifier. Okay, I don't know if that amplifier has high level or low level input, but that's what dictates whether you need the LOC or not. So if the amplifier has high level input, the output voltage from that radio is maxes out about 6-7 volts. That's it. So if it's the non-amplified version and that has their basic high level to low level circuit built into it, no, you just hook it up. You will need load resistors. You'll need some of the audio control LGD green load resistors in there, or you'll need the Audison speaker simulator that they sell. Either one of those will get the job done for you, but that's it. Now, Audison does sell an LOC, which is really, really good. So if you want to keep it all going, you could do that. I was disappointed when I learned that Glade and Moscone Barney won't work with my Moscone 90.8 DSP. So was I, not going to lie. Yeah, it's pretty much for all the new stuff, using the software that we've been doing the DSP things where, I don't know. But the 90.8 has just been replaced with the new 8.10. So we were talking about that earlier in case you missed it. So it would be time to upgrade now. I'm just saying, you might want to think about getting a new amplifier. Why not, right? This guy right here. Ooh, the new 8 to 10 DSP. Just calling your name. It's calling your name loudly. Buy me. It's more power. It's like 120 watts. So.
All right, Dean.
Yeah. Hey, Dean, Orlando.
Yeah.
Ever heard the guy named James Scotto?
Scotto?
I don't know. He used to be an installer manager at Sound Advice in Orlando.
You know all the Sound Advice guys?
No, I don't know any of the Sound Advice guys. No.
Really?
Never heard of him. That's not to say I don't know him. I just might not know him by name. I mean, James, really.
Right.
That was neat. Yeah. And Sound Advice, dude, just here, there was 2 Sound Advice here. There was 3 in Tampa. So there's like 5 Sound Advice in this general area. And all of them were very special people. Very special people. Yeah. You could pick out a Sound Advice guy in a room of car stereo guys a mile away.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God. Well, I mean,
you've
you've met one. You know how he acts. I mean, it's just Chris.
Oh.
Yeah. He's a Sound Advice guy, man. They were special people, man. God,
right.
because Sound Advice really made you feel special. Like, they made you feel like you were the elite of the elite, and they were not afraid to walk into a room and be like, you're like, oh, it's the Sound Advice guys. Okay.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not picking on them. I'm not bashing them. It was just the experiences that we had. I think it was great because the guy that ran the company, I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to give him the pleasure of that just because he was a dick to me once. They did a really good job of store culture. Like, they had a store culture like no one else.
Okay, why?
No, they did.
Wow.
Because everyone that worked there felt like they were part of Sound Advice, whether it was the home audio guys, the car audio guys. Because remember, I used to do trainings at 4 Sound Advice. I had 10 Sound Advices. I had to travel around every freaking other week and train their guys on how to sell stuff. And they were some of like their sales. I mean, they were really good guys. I actually learned a lot from them.
Okay.
Just because of their machismo, as it were. But man, those guys drank the Kool-Aid like it was nobody's business. And I was dealing with the Miami and South Florida guys, and those guys were even like crazier because.
Now the question is like, if some of the guys still around working.
Most of them that I know of from this area are not in car audio.
They not?
No.
Oh.
No. One of the guys started a company that does like the tracking systems.
Okay.
I don't know. I think a couple of the guys work for Power Company. I think the only one that I know of that's still in 12 volt is Chris. But most of them got out like everybody else. They just left. Or a couple of them went on to home audio.
Oh, I mean, home audio is pretty cool.
Because they made way more money in the home audio.
For sure.
Can you please recommend a couple 6.5-inch mids in the $100 to $200 pair range that have good bass for systems that can't have a sub? No, I can't. Because that's not what they're made for. They're not subwoofers. They're mid-range. They only play down to about 70 hertz. So if you want bass, you have to have a subwoofer. A mid bass is a mid bass. It's designed to play 80 hertz up. You're going to cross it over even at 12 dB, so it rolls off and you don't blow the thing to pieces. These things have little tiny voice coils. Even if you went pro, like if you went full big badass set of full cal K2, KRX2 3-ways, because the KRX2 3-way has a bigger mid bass than the 2, bigger voice coil and whatnot, or you go, so they're still not a subwoofer. Okay, they still won't put out bass. So the only way to have bass is to have a subwoofer.
Okay. Last question.
Got installed a sub in a 2024 x5. Okay, HK. What? Okay, I can't. But they also cut the input on the stock sub. Now it sounds 6K, 40 hertz only, no mid range. Would it be okay to reconnect the stock sub?
I gotta install a sub in the 2024 BMW X5.
Oh, where'd you get BMW? Oh, you're just making it. Oh, X5. Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, hook it up.
It's a high level to low level connect.
Yeah, hook it back up. Yeah, for sure. Definitely reconnect the factory sub. So a lot of times when you're doing, so I actually had this conversation, we'll end on this. Had a customer come in last week and they were asking me the same question. They're getting ready to upgrade their car. There is a subwoofer in the front of the car. They're putting a 12-inch in the back. And they're like, should I disconnect the factory sub? And I go, God, no, don't disconnect the factory sub, because what that factory sub is doing isn't really bass. It's doing mid bass. It doesn't play down low to 40, 30 hertz like that. And at those frequencies, it's really not a lot of sound. What it's doing, though, is it's coupling with those two mid-range in the door and making it sound a lot lower than it should. So it's creating this really good illusion of a really deep headphone bass coming from the front of the car. And if you disconnect that, all of a sudden the front of the car that sounds rich and full and actually pretty luscious is now going to sound like crap, because you've taken away the lower end sound from those mid-range that it wasn't doing in the first place, because they're, again, coupling with the subwoofer. It threw it all the way in the back. So no, most of the time when we integrate into a factory system, we keep that factory subwoofer playing because it may be doing something else in the car audibly than just what you think it's doing by playing sub bass. So like even in an F-150 that has a BO system or something like that, you actually don't even tap into the subwoofer because it's not the thing that's creating the sub bass in the car. It's actually the front doors. All that thing is doing is vibrating the car. So if you re-amplify that, you get this really hollow, crappy sounding subwoofer sound, as opposed to the real subwoofer, which is coming from the front doors, because they want to give you that upfront bass where you can hear it. And to stack on that a little bit more, if any of you guys are old Suburban fans, if you look at the old original Suburban that had that subwoofer in the far corner, they just blew constantly or dry rotted. They took that subwoofer out, didn't bother to change the side panel, by the way. They kept the fake looking grill there. And they put the sub in the front of the car and went to a 6.5. So they went from an 8 to a 6.5. The 6.5 sounded 100% better because it was up front. So when we'd add a sub to that, we'd leave that 6.5-inch playing because it sounded really good up front. If you removed it, the front just sounded thin and lifeless. So by all means, go back in there, connect that factory subwoofer back up. It'll probably sound, the aftermarket sub will probably sound better too, because they probably didn't put load resistors in there, because on a BMW, you should have load resistors, especially on HK. So that's something to check too. If they did put load resistors in, make sure you remove the load resistors, because those are emulating the load of the factory speaker. And if you don't take those out, you hook the factory speakers back up, then you could blow the amplifier. Might not, probably won't, but you could. So it's just not good to do.
All right.
So anyways, one more.
That's it.
Okay, that's JBL, Night 18, JBL Camry using DSR1. Would you use the DSR1 in AR mode, or use the PAC Amp Pro and then the DSR1 as standalone? I own both pieces lately. Hell no. Use the DSR1 in AR mode. It will sound better. Definitely just use the DSR1 preamp. Don't go Amp Pro to DSR1. It's kind of counterproductive. The AR does fine. The high level, the Rockford is handling all of the audio in that particular system. It's not AR, and that AR is just for switching in data. It has nothing to do with audio. All the audio is going through the Rockford. Neither one of those are what I would call the most amazing preamp sections on the planet. However, if you do decide, like I would, there again, do AR DSR1 mode and be done with it. Now, if you decide that you're like, the Amp Pro will not sound better, if you do want something in the end that does sound even better than a DSR-1, you're going to have to spend about double the money, but you're going to get the PSM Pro from ARC. And the cool thing about it is it uses identical cables as the DSR-1. So you will have to buy an AR because the PSM Pro, they didn't build the AR in like Rockford did. So you get an AR, it all plugs in, and then you unplug the DSR-1 and you can plug the PSM Pro. Same harnesses. It's awesome the way they did it because they figured these guys all have DSR-1s in the car, and when they're tired of the DSR-1, they want something better. They can just unplug it, plug ours in, and everything will be great. The difference between a PSM Pro and a DSR-1 is only portable, meaning iPad, Android tablet. iPad, don't do Android tablet. It sucks. It's a miserable existence. iPad works the best. But the PSM Pro is laptop because it uses the full ARC suite of DSP, which I prefer a laptop setup just because it works all the time. It's not dropping or anything like that. Now, if you're going to do the DSR-1 AR mode, make sure you have the most recent firmware on it, and you flash it for both. When you're on the iData page, it's going to, would you like to flash? Scroll up, and there's a secondary flash that reflashes the Bluetooth chip inside of it. It basically resets it, and that's a good thing. It's a really good thing because these things have sat on the shelf. They've been in bags. They get a static charge. Reflashing the Bluetooth chip inside of it is like it eliminates tons of problems down the road. But flash it before you put it into the car. Okay, it doesn't need power to flash. It gets power from the USB. If you're flashing on a Windows machine, download both the Rockford Updater and the iData. You have to have both, but flash it for iData first, and then flash it for the Rockford Update. That it?
That's it.
You sure?
That's it.
All right. Hey, guys, we'd like to thank our two sponsors of the show this week, which is, of course, Moscone Gladen and also Audio Control. That's right, Audio Control with the brand new PNW speakers are available. They're shipping. You can get them online. You can get them in the retail stores. They're everywhere. And if you're looking for a new high-level to low adapter, make sure you check out the new LC5i Pro. That's right. 5 channels of input. And also, if you're ever wondering what the difference is between Acubase and an Epicenter, well, guess what? There's a video we just put out this week explaining those things to you. It's awesome. If you've ever wanted to know what loudness actually looks like or what bass roll-off actually is, regardless of whether you're an audio control fan or not, definitely check out the video because we will show you what that actually looks like. Everyone that has seen it is just going, wow, that's like freaking awesome that you guys did that. And you're welcome. It was all Fernando's idea. If you'd like to get the IRTA 2, that's right. If you'd like to see, we'll show you how it works in that video. But if you'd like to see the sound coming out of your speakers, out of your amplifier, what the hell is going on? This is a 2-channel electrical RTA, meaning you can hook up to an output and see what it is, what is happening, see if the amplifier is working, see if the input matches the output. And right now, you can save $25 on it until tomorrow night at midnight by using the code XMIS. A lot of you guys have taken advantage of that. A couple of you guys, I accidentally canceled the coupon code because I had it set. I went back and credited you the $25. So if you're one of those guys, there's like 2 guys. We caught it and we were like, oh crap. So we went in and credited you 20. So everyone got the deal. But Sunday at midnight, the coupon code will shut off. So if you've been on the fence on whether or not you should get one, definitely get one because we only do sales twice a year. So
that's it, guys.
And it's a bitchin' tool. It is Saturday night, which means everyone's going to go out and have fun. We're running a little bit late. I hate doing that. So we're going to end it here. You guys be safe. We'll see you back here Monday. Fade to black. Bye.